Thank you all so much for joining us today for an inspiring conversation with some high school lacrosse players who are making an impact in their communities. We selected 3 outstanding female student athletes that received impact player recognition from US Lacrosse this year, and then asked recent college graduate Mira Shane to moderate. Each of these young women panelists and our moderator are doing great things off the lacrosse field. We hope shining a light on their activities will inspire all of you as much as it inspires me. Let me introduce Mira to start us off. Mira Shane studied African American Studies, Law, Justice and Social Change, and Music at Michigan, as she helped lead the program to its first NCAA tournament bid in 2019. She was also the program's first ever Tourton Award nominee. Mira is a native of Princeton, New Jersey, a proud biracial gay woman, and she's Michigan's all-time winningest goalie in program history, the career saves leader and career save percentage leader with the Wolverines. She spent her spare time at school leading Athletes for Community Transformation. The program focused on mentorship for under-resourced Black youth in the surrounding community. She volunteers now as a goalie coach for Michigan Women's Lax, works full-time at Verb Energy, and has a deeply rooted passion for diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Thank you all to all our panelists. So let me turn it over now to Mira.
Hey, thanks, Caitlin. Freaking love US Lacrosse. Thanks for having me. And we have absolutely some amazing panelists on tonight. It's going to be incredible. We could call it a show for all of you watching at home, because they truly are not actresses, but honestly incredible humans that are authentic and have been doing a great job within the lacrosse community this year. Chloe, Ziggy, Peyton, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good.
You guys good? Everybody's hanging in there?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's just round robin it really quickly, and you can tell some of the folks tuning into LaxCon what's up, what you did this year to win this amazing Impact Award. Chloe, we can kick it off with you, and then we'll pop to Ziggy and Peyton. And just want to thank y'all for coming on. Chloe, kick us off, girl.
Okay, so I'm Chloe, and over quarantine, I guess you could say, end of summer, early August, I started a clinic for girls ages 6 to about 14, and it's basically a clinic to teach kids the basic skills of lacrosse, like scooping and passing and things like that. I provided sticks and masks just to help urban kids get used to the sport of lacrosse, because it's not very common where I'm from. So I thought it would be a good way to help include the sport in urban cities.
Yeah. So when you say urban cities, where are you from? What is the youth that you're working with in particular?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my clinic took place in Dover, Delaware, and it's basically right in the middle of Dover, I guess you could say, where it's not there's a lot of poverty, I guess you could say. So a lot of kids didn't have much to do over the quarantine, and they were just finding themselves into things that weren't very productive. So I opened a clinic right in the center of all of that, and it gave those kids an outlet to really just help them.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Thank you.
I have so many questions for you, but I want to pop it over to Ziggy really quickly to hear what she's been doing for this amazing Impact Award. Ziggy, what's been up with you? What have you been working on? You're good. We can't hear you yet, but the suspense is killing me for knowing. No worries at all. Peyton, let's pop to you and hear what you kind of did for this Impact Award during this quarantine.
Yeah, of course. So over quarantine, I'm from Arizona, and around me, I noticed the Navajo Nation were really badly impacted by the pandemic. They weren't really getting much funding from the government, from other people. They didn't have a lot of aid, and so I wanted to help out, and so I started making face shields for them with my dad's help, fortunately, and we were able to get over 3 dozen, I'm not sure exactly how many, face shields to the Navajo Nation a few others were sent around to Banner Desert and some places on the East Coast, but mostly the Navajo Nation. We're just making face shields.
Yeah, that's incredible. So face shields and masks. I know we talked on the phone a little bit about the technicalities of what you were kind of producing. Was it masks or what kind of PPE was it?
It was all face shields, yeah.
Cool. That's amazing. Ziggy, how are we doing over there? Can I kick it to you yet? Are you still muted, girl?
I think I'm good now. Can you guys hear me?
You're good now. All right, kick us off.
Perfect.
What did you do?
Hi, I'm Ziggy. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and this quarantine, me and a group of friends of mine from my high school started sort of a tutoring nonprofit where we connect first graders through 12th graders with tutors, high school tutors needing service hours. And we just kind of started that around May or March, and we have a website, Instagram, Facebook, and we're making an app.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
I don't do any of the web developing. That is not on my shoulders. I don't know how to code, but we have a very good person on our team named Devanch, and he's incredible.
Wow. Yeah, I was about to say, do we have a little coder on our here? Hello world coding? No coding, but that's still an incredible cause, and I think it's really cool within the three of y'all that we got Delaware, we got Arizona, we got Oregon. We're like hitting all parts of the US. I mean, well, obviously there are 50 states, but we got a lot going on. And I think it's really cool how even in the areas that you all are in, even if you have a snippet of impact, you can make a difference, right? And so my hat is off to you all for the hard work that you put in. I'd love to kind of throw the question out to the group. How did you all first get the idea for the specific communities that you were trying to target and really help and make that impact? Peyton, let's start off with you this time.
Yeah, so for me, it was a little more personal to me as someone who it's not my community it's directly affecting. And at that point in time, Arizona had the highest cases in the country. It was getting really bad. I had lost another season, and I didn't want this stuff like this to continue. And I was looking around wondering how I could help. And as someone who's also Native American, the Navajo Nation seemed like a very obvious choice to me of a good way that I could help my community.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. Chloe, let's bop it to you.
So for me, a big effect that took place, like for me, a big reason that I did the clinic was because of my sisters. I have little sisters who are so young and they're so energetic and they're always on the move. They're always picking up a stick. And I thought, why not do something that won't only help my sisters, but will help other little girls just like them. And it just felt right. And my dad, he was also a part of the Green Beret organization that is really all about giving an outlet to kids. And with the help of my dad, it was just the best thing that I thought would help everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that what both of you all have kind of kicked it off and said thus far is kind of helping your own communities, right? And giving back in a way. And Ziggy, I'm sure that you have kind of that connection as well. Obviously, we all went through first and second grade and have that connection. But I know when I think back to like why I did certain impact-driven events in my life, it was because I was giving back to like a certain part of myself that made me feel like I could help other kids, you know, being biracial and trying to get other Black folks or people within the BIPOC community that connected with me because I could see myself in some of these little laxers. So I think that that's really cool, and I resonate with that a lot. Ziggy, what about you? Why do you connect with your cause?
I found myself really struggling in the transition to online school, and I kind of found myself not enjoying learning as much as I used to. I didn't really have the opportunity to ask questions to my teachers, and I just found myself falling behind. And I had a few opportunities to work with friends that were willing to tutor me, but I just didn't feel like it was a very constructive environment for me to learn anything. And so I really wanted to make an effort and help other people feeling the same way I did and connect them with outlets where they can have mentors and other tutors that kind of give them the opportunity to ask the questions that online school isn't really providing.
Yep, totally. Yeah, virtual learning's got be no bueno these days. So yeah, y'all are shaking your heads like, oh God, I don't even want to think about it. Cool. No, I'm really proud of all of you for kind of going back to your communities and giving back. Open forum question here for you all. What is one thing that you kind of want to continue as you work in your designated groups? Or I think Chloe, you were saying this, like you had to go back to school, and so you've been unable to kind of continue on with Green Beret, but you want to get back into it and do different things. Where do you guys see the future of trying to keep pushing the limits and making this kind of impact? Anybody can take this, free reign, popcorn it around.
Oh, I guess I'll start. Well,
Cool.
for me, like you said, it was kind of hard to continue it because of school and everything. So it was just a lot to juggle. But I definitely want to continue doing the clinic. And even like if it's not me, I still would like to have other people doing it too. And then I can just pop in whenever, just continuing the clinic and continuing to help these kids, because like there's nothing else that we can really do. And another thing is just donating and things like that. Just, I don't know, just really giving back in any way I can.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Just
all
like
about
Chloe, oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Just like Chloe said, I kind of just want to set the foundation for other people to work on once I'm in college and I can't really put the same effort and amount of work into some things that I'm doing. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, even though my particular thing isn't the pandemic, once it ends, I won't really be making masks anymore. But even if it's not making masks, after this, I still want to be helping out in the healthcare field as something I'm incredibly interested in, and also especially the Native American community. That's for sure something I want to continue working with.
Yeah, totally. I think what you all are saying, that common theme is kind of sustainability and how do you sustain trying to make impact. And I think I always struggled with that when I was at school, because I was trying to think of like, dang, I want to make this much impact and like really drive it home and get this program to blow up and be super big and help these kids that are unresourced or relatively at risk and that need mentorship. But I always I think now in my adulthood of 23-year-oldness, I finally found like a little bit of this is how you really like sustain out a dream. So I'm wondering, you all are talking about like the future of what you want to do. Do you think that it'll be lacrosse related, or do you see yourself maybe doing something else? Like Peyton, you're saying, kind of getting involved in healthcare. Will lacrosse kind of always be with you, or was it just kind of a little
Yeah, for sure. I honestly, I cannot see a future for myself without lacrosse in it. That sounds really sad to me. I don't know what I would do. Like all of my free time is spent either doing something lacrosse related or school. But yeah, I definitely want to stay involved in lacrosse. And even if those two things don't always connect that much, like healthcare and lacrosse, I for sure want those two things to be involved in my life.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else wanna tackle this one? No worries. If not, I got more questions coming, ladies. So stay tuned.
I also am not really looking at an academic field in lacrosse, I guess, but I have started coaching for the club team that I used to play for, and I've found a complete passion for that. I love coaching for them, and I'm coaching 7th graders, and I really hope that in my future I continue to coach because it's something that I really enjoy. And of course, I love playing, but seeing people, these kids, just like learning from me and learning kind of my own skills that I've learned along the way has been an incredible passion for me.
Yeah, that's awesome, Ziggy. I think it's like the feeling that you get after you've created that impact and you get to see it really come to fruition, and it just feels really good. Feels really good. Chloe, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with the both of them. I definitely want to incorporate lacrosse in my life, no matter what, right? Whether it be helping my little sisters or helping a team or anything like that. I think it's taken me so far, so it would only be right for me to continue it out. And I also am interested in the healthcare field, so both of those things.
Oh my
I'm really
I didn't even realize that I'm on a webinar with future doctors of America. I feel even more honored than I did before with the Impact Award winners. So super cool. But no, that's really awesome. And kind of segueing to those similar vein. My next question is kind of just like, why lacrosse for you all? Why have you stuck with it? I know some people are kind of taking their lacrosse careers to the next level. But why do we love Lax in this group? I'm curious.
I started. Oh, go ahead, Chloe.
Well, a big reason that I play lacrosse is because of my brother. He played lacrosse, and he's one of the only reasons I even picked up a stick when I was like 5, I guess you could say. He was really good at lacrosse, and unfortunately he wasn't able to continue playing, but he had a passion for lacrosse, which really drove me. And then my dad, he just continued it. He saw that I was able to play and that I enjoyed it, so that's why I chose lacrosse.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Just like Chloe, I started playing with my brother as well. And I started playing lacrosse in a time where a lot of my friends were playing different sports, and I was really bad at soccer. And so I definitely didn't join the team and play soccer or basketball because I'm 5'3", and I was short even that. And so I know exactly, basketball is not the sport for me. But lacrosse was something that I started out really late in the game. I kind of started when I was 13. And I really put effort into it, and I saw myself improving in a way I hadn't with other sports. And kind of the family dynamic, practicing with my brother and my mom, was just something I hadn't had with another sport because I swam, and that's not really something you can do outside of a pool. So it was a little interesting for me. And lacrosse is definitely taking me far in life, and I wish to play it no matter where I go to college. I want to incorporate it in my life. And I just, like Chloe said earlier, it doesn't seem right not to give back for something that's given me so much.
Yeah. Also, Ziggy, no judgment here. I'm freaking 5'4.5" on a good day. Maybe 5'5" with my cleats on. I think that's what I put on my roster stats. So
yeah, you always have to have the roster stats with the cleats on.
You gotta. I mean, I even wore turfs because I was a goalie, and I really, kind of cheated there. So I hear you, girl. It's a hard life out there for us shorties, but I'm definitely glad you picked lacrosse. Peyton, take us home. Why'd you pick lacrosse?
Yeah, I can relate to both Chloe and Ziggy. I also got into lacrosse because my older brother played, and I remember when I was little, I would go to his games, go to his practices, and they decided to start a youth program in Arizona for girls for the first time ever because it's so small here. And my mom, who also played, she put me and my brother in it, and so that's how I started playing, and I kind of just kept it with me.
Whoa, love it. I love it. Bunch of lax stars out here doing good deeds. So that reminds me. So if all of y'all started playing lacrosse because your brothers or family members played, is that the same reason that you started doing kind of impact driven charity and service to others around you? Like, are you inspired by somebody in your life that maybe you saw service or civil engagement to that level?
I definitely was inspired by my mom. She's always been the person to kind of like grab me by the hand and say, hey, let's go do something. And we've always been like, hey, let's go do something for other people. And in Oregon, there's a lot of opportunities for that. There's a lot of homelessness. And so there's a bunch of places to start making like food for people. There's a bunch of places to donate. And so we've always just kind of been on the move, and we've always tried to like give back what we have, because I understand the privilege I have, and I understand the privilege of feeling safe, and especially a global pandemic. And I know that especially around me, there are so many people that don't feel like that. And so my mom being that impact in my life and just pushing me to always remember that I might have something, but that doesn't mean I can not give half of it away, because the minute you have something means you have something to give back.
That's awesome. Yeah. So inspo from your mom. I feel that. Peyton, Chloe,
Yeah.
anybody inspire you?
Yeah, I think for me it was also my mom and my dad, both of them. My mom, because she, even before quarantine, was always the one where if we had an extra stick or we have our pop-up cage that we can just throw in the trunk of our car, she'd be like, here, if your team needs this, like, feel free to lend this to them. Like, we have things that we can give. We're in a place that's something that we can and should do, if it means that other people have this opportunity that they otherwise wouldn't have. And for my dad, the face shields were a program that started at his work, and he brought it home and introduced that idea to me when I was looking for ways to help. And so I think both of them were huge in my decision.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said that the face shields were 3D printing, right? When we spoke over the phone?
Yeah, we printed the top part that would go around their heads.
Yeah, that's so techy and so wild. I love the innovation there.
My dad's an engineer. He's a little bit of a nerd.
Listen, we love nerds, especially in this pandemic. Goodness knows that they saved us as well as healthcare workers. So shout out to all the engineers that might be watching LaxCon or healthcare workers watching LaxCon. Deep appreciation for you on this panel. Chloe, what about you? Anybody inspire you?
Yeah, definitely. My dad, he's one of the most generous people I know. He's always giving back. He's a mentor, so he's that type of mentor that whenever parents don't have the best parental guides in their life, he's that guide. And with him just doing this, he actually is one of the reasons why this clinic was able to happen, because he worked at the Green Beret facility, and like I said, he brought the idea to me to like have it there. So he really inspired the whole thing, and he inspires me every day. He pushes me to be a better person, to be a better lacrosse player. He's really the reason why I did everything.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that you all have that particular person you can pinpoint in your life to be like, dang, they pushed me in the right direction, or really like inspired me to inspire others to make that sort of impact. Because I feel like now that you all are kind of being recognized for the incredible work that you've done over the pandemic, now you're also inspiring others. And I think that's something that's so beautiful that kind of trickles down for folks that are able to make such a large impact. So that's really cool. All right, kind of switching gears here, but not completely, because we're not leaving. So nobody leave this call if you're watching and tuning in. Peyton's joking, like, peace, everybody. So a little bit deeper into kind of, it sounds like we have a lot of different identities on the call, and some people did certain things for certain reasons. And I know a lot of my work always came from, like, I worked specifically with Black kids within the Ann Arbor community, and I tried to, the program sort of started originally as like to give sports, like having student athletes come in and be like, yo, we're these student athletes from Michigan. You can play sports too. You can do that. Like, there are all these different resources and we'll help you along the way. But I think the overall impact looking back was more on mentorship. And Chloe, I like that point of yours of like your dad being a mentor. And I'm wondering for you all, was there mentorship in Peyton? Maybe not so much for you, but maybe there's been other mentors in your life. But is there that mentorship aspect that always comes with impact, or like things that we do when we're giving back? Anybody can take this one. It's a free question, hot off the presses.
I think I understood it. I might be a little bit lost in the question, but I definitely think there's a mentorship aspect with lacrosse that I get from my lacrosse coach, because just like my mom, she's always been there for me and kind of told me to give back to my community the way that she tells my teammates and I to always work together and be there for each other. And I feel like the mentorship aspect with my nonprofit that I started with my friends is sort of that we're trying to get the next generation of students to love education as much as getting good grades, and not just trying to get the A's to get into a good college, but to get the A's because it means that you actually understand the material. And I felt like that's something that I lost along the way, especially in high school. And helping start this nonprofit has helped me gain that back. And actually, like, I'm taking psych this year, and it's something I want to pursue in my life. And without having this nonprofit and actually seeing younger kids start to learn and love their education more, I don't think I would have loved learning psychology as much as I am right now.
Awesome. Awesome. I like the psych reference. Psych is everything in our lives, if you think about it. Like very, very deep, but yeah, psych is everything. So that's really cool, Ziggy. Chloe, I think I saw you going on. Was I right?
Yeah. Like Ziggy said, lacrosse has provided me so many different mentors in my life. And with the impact nonprofit that I did, I thought it was only right to include some mentorship, being that I'm working with inner city kids, and that mentorship is very important in their lives. So I thought that with the clinic that I did, giving them that clinic just gives them a positive outlook, really. And with that, it gives them like a positive outlook on looking at things. Like, you can spend your time in different ways, and I feel like that's what mentors do. They give them different ways to look at things, and it just helps them all around, because a lot of kids just find themselves doing the wrong things, and giving them that just helps them.
Yeah. And then in the follow-up question for you, Chloe, what was the specific inner city that you were working within in Delaware? Remind me, was it multiple or just one for Green Beret?
Yeah, it was just one for Green Beret. Although there's two in Delaware, I was just working with the one in Dover specifically. And
cool.
yeah.
Cool. No, that's cool. I mean, I think there's impact enough in one particular urban city or whatever it might be. I think that like you can touch a lot of different hearts with even one specific location. So that's really awesome. Peyton, you want to jump in here? No worries if not.
Yeah, even though my building face shields, I wasn't really mentoring anybody in particular. For me, it was just more about being able to give back was the big thing, because I just know that I've always been taught that the more that you have, the more obligated you are to give back, because you're more able to. And so as someone who I haven't had to worry about, will I have a mask? Will I be able to, like, will my parents keep their jobs during the pandemic? Will I have good internet to be able to log into school? Like, I've been so lucky not to have to worry about those things. And so being able to have the resources to be able to build face shields for people, that was just the biggest thing for me.
Totally. Yeah, completely. And yeah, I think that it's really cool too how you were able to give back what sounds like in such a time of need for that PPE, where it was like life or death. You were kind of able to swoop in, come in clutch, catch the assist, finish in a lacrosse frame of mind, and help a lot of different folks out. So that's really, really cool. I'd love to kind of paint the picture for people that are tuning in to us all just having fun chatting. What were some of the reactions for Chloe, Ziggy, the kids, Peyton, the healthcare workers, or even just like the community within the Navajo, the reaction of people that were, getting PPE or getting a better virtual online education or getting skills with lacrosse and being able to practice? What were those reactions like? I'd love to kind of hear about that. Popcorn, anybody can.
Okay, so for the kids, because they were at such a young age, kids are always so energetic and open-minded to anything. So they were just extremely excited, especially my little sisters. Like, they're an example of the true little kid. They just love getting up and doing things. And no matter what it is, as long as they're doing something, they're happy. So I think they enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that's really cool. How many kids were within that program, like that you ran the clinics for?
Mm-hmm. I try to keep it low, just because, just keeping in mind of the pandemic, you want to be safe. It was 10 to about 13 kids. It was never more, just to be safe. Just 10
Okay.
to 13.
No, I like safety is key. Was it on a weekly basis though? It sounded
Yes,
like
it was every Tuesday
Okay.
Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, it's awesome. Ziggy, what about you? What was kind of the setup / the reactions from your kids?
I just want to say, during the pandemic, if someone had started a clinic in my area, I think I would be just as excited as those little kids in Chloe's clinic, because I would love to have gotten out of the house for. But
I know.
I think
I feel like I would be like running around just the field, maybe not even catching balls, just like
exactly.
buzzing around. Coach Chloe would have to reel me in, be like, Mary's supposed to be in the cage. It'd
They
be
need a
crazy.
whistle or two. It's like
Yeah,
tweet tweet.
tweet, tweet, maybe 3 whistles, who knows? Um,
But I think the kids in my situation were a little less face to face, so I couldn't really see the reactions as well. But we have an email address that a lot of parents have sent us emails saying like, "Thank you so much for having this organization." And this last summer, we actually had a 3-week summer program where we did art classes, science, math, and English, and we had a very large thank you presentation that we sent to a bunch of the kids and the adults, the parents, and they sent a lot of thank yous back. And it was kind of the first opportunity that we had to see the gratitude that we got from our community. And it was a great experience because we got to have these little videos and messages from all the kids that we were helping and teaching the art classes, which is what I did. It was nice to have a face-to-face experience with so many at once because they could ask me questions and be like, "Hey, thank you so much for doing this. Like, look at my sock puppet. It's so much fun." And it was just really fun for me to just see everybody in general.
yeah, that's awesome. And it sounds like you were finally able to get the good vibes like towards the end of actually seeing the reaction. So I feel like that was one of my favorite parts always of giving back, like seeing how much you really seeing just that impact that's resonating with people for a long, long time, way past the point of even you doing the clinic with them or doing the online stuff with them. So that's really cool. Peyton, how about you?
Yeah, so although I was never able to really meet any of the healthcare workers or people that the face shields I made were going to, um, I did know that they were so excited because they literally had nothing. They would be going in and treating people with nothing, and that was crazy to me. And so once they had their protection, even if it was their face shields, whatever it was that they were getting, they were I just know the healthcare workers were just so grateful to actually have some form of protection when they're going in and treating these people.
Yeah, totally. How many face shields did you end up making? Was there an official count?
No, I just know that at my house we made over 3 dozen, maybe 4 dozen.
Yeah.
I lost track.
No, that's really, really cool. And again, like I said, too many to count, and you can't count impact, right? And like saving lives. So that's really, really incredible. All right, question. I'm thinking if we had an actual audience here with us today, I feel like one of the questions would be where if somebody wanted to do some sort of impact, if they were like, yo, when I grow up, I want to be like Peyton, Chloe, and Ziggy right now. I want to wake up, I want to be them. I want to do this impact work. What's one tip, or not one, you can give as many tips as you'd like, on that you'd give to that person on how to really make an impact within their community and beyond?
I think one thing that all three of us have done has kind of like seen the situation in our communities and seen what's needed. And I think that all three of us kind of looked for the opportunities there and really addressed the situation and found what was necessary for us to improve our communities. And I think that's something that I would give an advice to someone looking to make a difference is you can make a tutoring organization for a school network that has great tutors already in the network and it won't really make as much as an impact. Or you can provide masks not during a pandemic and that really won't make an impact. But if you adjust the situation, then you'll always make an impact and it'll always be better than where you started off because you're doing something for your community that is needed.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I gotta riff on that a little bit. I feel like it's so sometimes people not overthink, but I think that there's such a want to do impact driven things or like give back to the community, but sometimes kind of your love and like that drive is needed too of like, but do these people who needs it the most? And that's kind of like a crazy thing to grapple with because it's like, well, honestly, a lot of different communities need help in different times. But I think that you all did such a fantastic job at really being sensitive to who you were calling out and following through and making it a really long lasting and sustainable kind of, decision, like we talked about before, like making it a sustainable program that lasts for a really long time. So that's really cool. I like that, Ziggy. Anybody else want to give a pro tip?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ziggy, there. And for me, if I were giving a tip to someone, it would be to find something that you're really passionate about. Because if you want to make an impact and there's like this thing that you know you could do and make an impact, but you're not really that interested in, it won't be as important to you. You won't really put as much effort in. It's not as, it doesn't affect you as much. And so I feel like there's something missing. But if you find something you're passionate about, like Chloe with her clinics and Ziggy with the tutoring, you put so much more into it and it's so much more rewarding because you can see, for me, like yourself in some of those people that you're helping.
Oh
And
my
so that's a huge thing.
Dude, yes. I wish I had the applause like on Zoom in this webinar format. Yeah, I feel like it goes back to exactly how we started off this call with. You're connecting with kind of the individuals that you're able to give back with, especially when they have super similar identities as you, and you feel like you're almost just like not saving yourself, but creating like this help towards like a greater good that is you. Especially when like your community hurts. I think like I connect with that so much through all of this civil unrest, and like I'm so passionate about social injustice, and that's because like within my community, which is the Black community, like I know the struggle, and so I think it's like connecting with that struggle and then kind of transcending it to help folks. So virtual clap to you, Peyton. That was wicked cool. Chloe, what about you?
A pro tip that I would give them and to someone who's looking to impact would be impacting someone or a group of people does not have to be super big. You can start small, and as long as you do something like Ziggy and Peyton said, something that's passionate to you and needed in your community, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be as small as it has to be. Like, as long as you're giving back and doing something that you think is needed and you're passionate about, then do it.
Heck yeah, virtual claps for everybody. Just drop the mic now, ladies. I mean, geez. Yep, it's that. Yeah, I think big or small, you're able to change people's minds and hearts and help them out. And that's most important. Okay, so we should have done this at the beginning of the call, but I need to know the answers now before we end, because our time is coming to a sad end soon. But what is everybody's position? I should have asked that. What is everybody's lax position? I'm a goalie. I'll go first.
I'm a defender.
Probably could have guessed that. Yep, we got D-Train here. Let's go.
I'm a midi.
Midi. All right, we got wheels. And Chloe, what about you?
I'm a defensive midi, so I'm like the same.
We like you next year. Okay, cool. You're like balancing everybody out over here. I guess we're balancing out with the goalie, and then yeah, I like that. That's awesome. Sorry, I totally should have asked that at the beginning, but I'm glad we could fit that into our US Lax call. Okay, so one kind of final question. So we already talked about kind of the future, where y'all want to go, possibly. I'm not going to ask for your 5-year plan, but I'm sure you all have 5-year plans. You seem very organized and with it, so good luck executing those. But what's one dream that you kind of wish for the communities that you helped out? If you could wish upon them one thing to keep working with them, what would be that one dream? Is it more PPE? Is it less virtual learning, more post-COVID in-person? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but what is like one dream that you wish for the community and you want LaxCon listeners to know?
Well, one dream that I have with the clinic that I had was to add more diversity in the sport of lacrosse, knowing that is a predominantly white sport, and majority of the girls in the clinic that I ran were a part of the Black community. I think that with that clinic, it also, not only does it give those kids an outlet, but it also puts more diversity in the sport, knowing that there's not a lot of that, and that's something that's needed.
Yep. I like that why. It's a great why. Ziggy, Peyton?
Yeah, I think for me, if there's something that I would want for my community, it would be for not just the Navajo Nation, but all Native American reservations, communities to be recognized more, receive more representation, and not have to be waiting on people to donate to actually receive help. Like this situation, it could have been so much better if they had just received that funding, and so I just hope that these communities get recognized more.
Yep, incredible. Emphasize that for the new year and beyond, right? More recognition too within, I think, our sport as well, having Native American roots. I think, Peyton, we talked about this on the phone whenever we chatted, but you know, the importance of recognizing where the roots of lacrosse came from, and also recognizing who the creators of the game are, right? And that's part of the grow the game mentality, which we definitely need. Ziggy, take us home. Why do you do what you do kind of within these first and second graders, and what's the dream?
I think that my dream would be an education system that provides a basis to students actually learning to love what they're learning instead of learning for a grade. I think one thing that I want people to take away from this is just kind of to start educating yourself on things that you love. It took me a long time to kind of get past educating myself on things I thought I needed to know and starting to really like personally explore the internet, because we live in a world where self-education is not an option, it's kind of necessary. And if you don't put that upon yourself, then it's kind of a choice. It's not something that you can't really do anymore. And so I just want to tell people to like really start looking into what you love and start searching the internet. I know not everything, like maybe Wikipedia is not like the perfect scientific article to write a thesis on, but it is somewhere to start. And so maybe just looking up your favorite book online and seeing if there's another one from the same author, or maybe some weird theory about the universe that you heard about in a YouTube video, just like looking it up and finding just a little bit more about it, and really getting an education outside of something a school can teach you, and just sort of learning for yourself and learning to love education and learning to love learning, just like learning to love books and reading and getting outside, learning the plants that your dad plants in the garden, just like learning the name of one at a time, just something for yourself.
I love that. So are you voting for no homework? Is that what I'm hearing over there? I'm just kidding.
Maybe more of like a personal based homework, like you want to write something for yourself.
I love it. No, I love it. My high school's like motto was actually live to learn, learn to live, and I feel like that's kind of what you're saying. Like have that curiosity to really learn about things that interest you and that aren't always to be read in a textbook or from a teacher's mouth directly. Even though shout out to all the teachers that I had, I love you all. So anyway, I think that you all are absolutely beyond your years. It's been incredible chatting tonight, and I think that if there's one takeaway I'm gonna bring home with me, it's that you make an impact, right, with what you're passionate about, and when you want to give back to whether it's your community or to a community in need, if you do it authentically with your heart deeply, I don't really think you can go wrong. I think that community appreciates it, and then you kind of grow as a person doing it yourself. So I just want to thank US Lacrosse / shout out LaxCon, amazing kind of virtual vibe we got going on. Thank you, Chloe, Ziggy, and Peyton for joining me and hanging with my crazy energy. Obviously, I had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my God, of course. Anytime.
Yes, thank you.
We'll hang again.
Thank you.
And I just want to give a big thank you also to Shannon and Caitlin. They're incredible organizers. This is my second time, and every time they crush it with this webinar format. So thank you all for joining us, and please stay safe, and don't forget to keep those passions running to make the best impact that we can do within a lacrosse community and beyond. All right, everyone, have a great night. Peace.